Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Manchester United Agenda. It's Thursday night, so it is a preview night, and we're going to be talking about lots of different stuff today. And I'm delighted to be joined by Amonde and Dora. Dora, how are you? What amusing rustic stories have you got in store for us this evening?
Well, not that much, honestly. I think it's quite boring in the chicken world currently. Sorry for my camera being blurred. I think someone is sabotaging me. But yeah, all jokes aside, I'm feeling great. And, thank you for having me as always.
What have you been up to since we last saw you?
Well, so yesterday there was a bank holiday, 1st of May, which is, you know what? It's communist. I think it's like a communist holiday that kind of became. It's like no one works that day, if that makes any sense. No
That
Labor
sounds
Day.
like communism.
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm saying it's communism. But yeah, it kind of, it's a big deal here. You go to barbecues and, you're hanging out with your loved ones, and yeah, it was really good. So I had a great day yesterday, and today we are starting all over again. I would say it's like a reset in the middle of the week. So yeah, I had a great day yesterday because it was a bank holiday. So yeah.
Wicked.
So it doesn't matter what day it falls on. The 1st of May is a day off.
1st of May. Yeah, you should check it out. It's like a global thing. I think it's just that, because we were kind of, a communist. We were in communism 30 years. Up to 30 years ago.
So the first Monday of May, the first Monday of May is always a bank holiday for us.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So this coming Monday is a bank holiday. Everyone's off work.
Oh, wow. Well, 1st of May is like we call it 1st of May, but it's like a no Labor Day. It's something called like that. I think, maybe some other foreigners like me are going to, know about it. But yeah, it's kind of a big deal here.
Would you prefer like? So I quite like our system that the Monday is always the bank holiday. Would you prefer it to just be like random? Like it could be a Tuesday, it could be a Friday.
No, I don't know what you think, but I think Monday's good because it extends the weekend, doesn't it? So if it's a Monday, what I tend to usually book a Friday or something like that, so we can have a extra long weekend. And in May in the UK, there's always 2 bank holidays. So we've got one later on in the month. I think on the 27th there's a bank holiday as well. So we're looking forward to that. So yeah, I always book the Thursday, Friday, and a Tuesday off, just to have that extended break. It's really nice. Speaking of extended breaks,
yeah.
I just want to read out my brother. Am I?
Yeah. You're on a delay. It's like talking to you as if you're on Mars or something.
Tell you what,
like
let me go out and come back in again.
Okay.
See what happens.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So we've only got Vincent in the house at the moment, but apparently there's up to 15 of you watching. So hello, Vincent, and let us know if you lot have any plans for the bank holiday. My plans involve eating and drinking, surprisingly. Yeah.
Like me yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a slight headache. In all honesty, I have a slight headache, but you know what? I will survive.
Are you hungover?
No, I'm not. Come on. Imagine getting drunk in the middle of the week.
Sounds fantastic.
It sounds fantastic, yeah.
All right, Amonde, are you on a delay?
Am I on a delay, guys?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? Tell us about what Kahinde's been up to.
Oh, not Kahinde. So it's my sister's married to Christian. He's so my brother-in-law, and they're going away. And this is for you, Dora. I was going to read it out what he said. And he sent me loads of stuff. So I might not be able to pronounce certain words. So this one's for you, Dora.
Mm-hmm.
So this on my WhatsApp. He said, towards the end of July into early August, never been to this part of the world. Looking forward to exploring it by sea. Apparently hiring a boat is the ting, but ting here. Got a good deal on flights from Heathrow, so only 3 hours away. We land in Dubrovnik in Croatia and then drive across the border. It's half price It's half the price of Croatia. Can eat seafood in a restaurant for £10. Medieval run-ins, he said. And well, oh, sorry, I've skipped a bit. So he said, just booked holiday. First time we leave the UK in years. Yippee. When was the last time you came out of the Highlands, bro? He's asked me. Just renewed our passports and booked a holiday in Europe's southernmost FJORD forts in Montenegro, the Bay of Kotor, Kotor.
Ah, Boka Kotorska. That's the city.
Okay. And so he sent me all these lovely images. The sea looks great. There's a boat tour in Qatar. It's saying here, Hotel Palma May. This is the hotel he's booked. He's really gone into it, trying to make me, because he's trying to push me to get my passport sorted to go on holiday. And there's boat trips and all this lovely stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's your part of the world. And I did say to him, I've got a good friend, Dora, who's Croatian, and she's been sort of doing "Wish You Were Here" every show, telling her how great Croatia is. So you should be working for the Croatian government because your tourism skills are fantastic. I'm sure everyone's going to be booking holidays real soon to go to that part of the world.
Well, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, it's a great trip, by the way. He's going to Dubrovnik, which, everybody, I think it's probably next to Zagreb, the most famous city in the world right now, Croatian city. And then he's going to Montenegro, which is, a country, our neighboring country, just south of us. Boka Kotorska, Budva, Podgorica is the capital. Podgorica is the capital city. So these are three major cities, and they are, really beautiful. They are also on the Adriatic Sea, as Dubrovnik, Split, and all the other Croatian cities. So yeah, he will have a great time. Both trips are absolutely, amazing, and he will definitely have a blast. So yeah. Good luck to him, and
I did ask him if he's going anywhere near Snake Island, but he said
this is a Crystal Palace preview, Amondo.
There's nothing in the brochure about Snake Island.
Yeah.
All right. Have you finished with your travel talk and the name of the country?
I'll no doubt get some feedback when he comes back and about how it was.
Well, Agile Beast has turned up. Hello, Agile Beast. I'm always worried about talking about the name of that country because it's got the N word in it, and I worry we're going to get demonetized.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
All right, and we've also got Sigmund who's turned up. Feel bad for match-going fans traveling to. Right, this is a spoiler, Sigmund, because I'll tell you why in a minute. But first of all, I think a lot of you will have noticed that we haven't seen Mr. B for a bit. He's still having some health issues and things. So thoughts and prayers to him. But hopefully we can see him again, fit and healthy. But shout out to Mr. B, and I hope you're feeling better, mate.
Amen.
All right. This is the show that we have for you this evening. Look, these are all the topics that I've seen. We're just going to talk about them, to be honest. It's not going to be a heavy PowerPoint show. But the first thing is when's the game on Monday?
Monday night.
That's correct. Monday night at 8 p.m. away at Selhurst Park. Palace are in decent form. They've won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1, and it's going to be a tough game, I think. All right, let's start off with you, Dora. Crystal Palace away. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think 2 words that can explain my thoughts about Crystal Palace and every time Manchester United need to go to Selhurst Park is tough fixture, I would say. Tough fixture, because we, especially in the last few years, even during, even before, I think during all the days, we had some, good results, but we drop a lot of points against Crystal Palace. It was either it didn't matter if it was, at Old Trafford or was it at Selhurst Park or in London. And tough fixture. Crystal Palace, despite being, the signature mid-table team of the Premier League, especially since they got promoted, I think in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've been really tough fixture for us. Have been for very, very long time. So it will be interesting to see how we set up. They are currently on 40 points, if I'm not mistaken. If you look at the table, they're kind of 14th, if I'm not mistaken, and we are 7th or whatever, and we have 51 points, which is 11 point difference. And to me, it seems far away, but it seems quite close, especially if you look at how many, I think, 3 fixtures are left.
With the
A lot
same-
can change.
With the same
Yeah.
distance between Palace that we are to Spurs, aren't we?
I think
In
so.
terms
I
of
think
points.
so. Yes, you are absolutely right. I think it is. So, yeah, it will be a tough fixture. Once again, it doesn't matter, if they are in the relegation zone or whatever, they are always, playing against, they are always up for us. And yeah, they are currently in a better form than us. That's a fact, as you said. So it will be interesting to see what is going to happen.
All right, Monday. I consider Palace away to be a bastard of a fixture. I absolutely hate it. We've seen some great goals. In particular, do you remember Matic's goal against Palace away?
Yeah,
Ooh,
huge.
For 3-2, yeah.
Yeah, that was a cracker. And was it? Am I right in thinking last season we conceded to an Olise free kick very late on, and Casemiro got a yellow card to be out of the City game?
That's right.
That was brilliant management there from Ten Hag. All right, Selhurst Park, like your neck of the woods. Tell me what you think about this game.
Yeah, so my missus can get tickets for the game. She said she can get 2 tickets. Said about 3-4 weeks ago, and I heard nothing since. I keep probing her. So, oh yeah, I have to speak to a man about from a man who's a Crystal Palace fan, but it would be in the Crystal Palace end, and I won't be able to go because I'm busy that day. But let's talk about Selhurst Park. Yeah, obviously Wimbledon used to share the ground. It belongs to Crystal Palace. Really nice part of London, southeast London. Bit rough, I reckon. For most people to consider it a rough area. There's a lot of talent in that area, footballers. And Crystal Palace, like Dora was saying, done really well. I think we can remember Solo going to the game this sort of end of the season as well. We went there and we lost 1-0, I think, a couple of seasons ago. And that was a tough game. It was during the day, though. I'll just say this. I want to say hi to Dr. Kespire, my friend from TikTok. He's a Crystal Palace fan. I don't know if you're watching, Doc, but I want to big you up. And he said to me the other day something really interesting. Now, he said, and he knows his football, he said that Crystal Palace are a team that could easily get close to top 4. He said there's so much talent there. He talked about Olise, talked about Eze, talked about the centre midfielder, I can't remember his name. But he said if any of these players, he named a few players, if any of these players went to a big club, they would be superstars. It's just that he's disappointed that Crystal Palace aren't gelling. Now, since Roy Hodgson, he's taken time out, hasn't he, for illness. We've got another guy coming in. I can't remember the manager's name, but he's got a tune out. He's getting a tune out of them. And this is the real potential that he thinks Crystal Palace actually have. And over the last few weeks, we've seen them with some really good games. Mateta really showing his class, his strength, his physicality. Eze, back fit. Olise, back fit. They're looking really good at the moment. And there's another guy I want to say they bought from, I can't remember where they bought him from, young left-footed midfielder. I can't remember his name, but I've been watching him because of Dr. Kespire. He's been telling me all about him. They bought him last season from a championship club, and he's played. They brought him in slowly. This guy is a really good footballer, left-footed midfielder.
Is he the young white English guy with a shaved head?
Yeah.
I know who you mean. Do you know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Like Seth Johnson, who was a Derby County player back in the day. Who I found
appearance-wise, not footballer-wise.
No, footballing-wise, left-footed. He's got the same kind of like upright body shape that I like. He carries the ball well.
Yes, he does. Yeah,
aesthetically, he looks like it's Adam Wharton.
Adam Wharton, yeah. Thank you, Bart. What a player he is.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, 1-2 touch, head up, pops it off, always makes the right decision in midfield, not phased. And this is a player that they've brought up from the championship. And I'm saying, well, where are our scouts when we're seeing guys like this come through? He looks mint. I'm really mean that. I really like this guy. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him if he does get some minutes against Man United. Just to see, okay, to gauge how good this guy is. Because I think the next move for him, obviously, if he does develop, would be a big money move. This player is really talented. It just goes to show there's a lot of talent out there, and Crystal Palace is the sort of club that will bring these guys through and play them. You got like Will Hughes, for example, from Derby.
Yeah,
they signed him. I've always felt he was a talented player. Really goes under the radar a bit, but he's a talented player, very talented player. Except when Casemiro's stringing him up.
Yeah.
But I want to say this: like you started us off, Bath time. It is a dodgy fixture for us, and if we really need the points, like if we were desperate fighting for top 4 or something, I'd be even more worried. But I think we can go there, play a bit more relaxed, as in there's less pressure.
More relaxed.
Yeah, and start normal. But we need to start preparing for the FA Cup final. So I think this is an opportunity, rather than we don't have too concerned about the result. It's an opportunity to try a little something. But let me give credit to, what's his name? Adam Wharton. Remember that name, guys. What a little young gem this guy is. Are you looking him up? Looking him up, Dora?
Monday, I want to do the comments.
Oh, right? Sorry.
All right, but before I get to the comments, I just actually have one question for you. There used to be a crazy Georgian at Newcastle United called Ket Spire. Is that where the guy gets his name from?
Yeah, he's bald. I've never asked him, but yeah, it's Ket Spire. There's only one Ket Spire. Kicks the hoarding.
Yeah, that goal celebration.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to come back to that Palace and talent pipelines, Dora. And are you just having a quick look at YouTube at Adam Wharton? Check out Seth Johnson.
No, right. I'm looking at their things. Continue.
Okay, so
research is going on, guys.
All right, first of all, we got Sigmund. He makes a really good point that isn't brought up enough, which is that the TV scheduling around football matches is ridiculous for away fans. Like, I think that the last train back to Manchester is about 9:45 on a bank holiday, and match-going fans will have to drive coaches, get a hotel. It's really unfair. There's nothing that can be done about it. All right, Bart's in the house. Have Palace ever done the double on United? Is this their best chance yet? Dutch United managers have always struggled against bird-based Premier League teams like Swansea, Brighton, Palace.
Oh my God, Swansea.
That's a good one. I'll give you that, Bart. I like bird-based teams. Mm-hmm. And then Glasner's Frankfurt, right? Oh,
he's a Frankfurt manager. That's who. Yeah.
Is that who he is? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him, but we're probably going to talk. Did you watch Champions League last night, lads?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dora? Okay, good.
Yep.
Right. And look, Sigmund's in that part of London. Literally a 20-minute walk. There's good parts and rough parts. That sounds like London to me. I've actually been to Selhurst Park. I watched Coventry play Wimbledon there many years ago. Yeah, really, I think it's a quality stadium because it's also obviously where Beck scored from the halfway line against Wimbledon.
And where Cantona chested.
Oh, yeah.
Goal.
Yeah, so it's
where he ended up doing a kung fu kick as well against.
Well, that's what I thought you were talking about, like one of the greatest moments of the Premier League. We got Stephanie in the house. She's bigging everyone up, including Bart, which must be rare. Hello, Steph. I hope you're doing well. And Bart is asking if Sigmund has seen the Crystal Palace player in the supermarket, cafe, restaurant. I'm not sure Bart's familiar with that part of London. All right, question for bath time. Where do you stand regarding NBC mulling striking a deal for playing a few games in the US? So there's been a ruling that now means that games can be played abroad. Spain, which is always disgraceful in this matter, playing cup games in Saudi Arabia with Real Madrid and Barcelona, like guaranteed. I mean, Amonde, we have a lot of foreign fans. Actually, Dora, you're a foreign fan.
Mm-hmm.
If like Reading versus United was played in Zagreb, would you be excited about this?
Look, if Croatia is located, for example, if Croatia is located where Scotland is right now, near England, right? I would be okay with it. So, for example, if I'm Welsh or Scottish, whatever, and United come and play in Edinburgh or whatever, or in Glasgow, I would be okay with that. However, if they, for example, as you said it, to Zagreb, which is what, million kilometers away, not million kilometers, I cannot, say, the exact, length and whatever, but it's just insane to me. I mean, it's insane to me because, for example, in this instance, Zagreb is closer to England, right? With flight and everything. And I honestly wouldn't be really happy if that happened because Premier League games, which are home games, English Premier League games need to be held in England. Full stop. Friendlies, special tournaments if they want to do it, Audi Cups or whatever it's called, Mercedes Cups, BMW Cups, they can be held wherever they want. FA Cups, League Cups, domestic cups, whatever, and English League, domestic league games need to be held in England. I don't care if I am, full on, Thai from Arsenal Fan TV. I'm dedicated that much to the club that I'm buying. Every single merch, I need to see every single game, go to every single game. It doesn't matter. I want this to be, held in England. This isn't about, if some, oh my God, you are, discriminating. No, that's common sense. Because why would, for example, United are playing, for example, Ipswich Town, who will probably, or maybe hopefully for Ipswich fans, going to get promoted to the Premier League. And they go to New York, for example, to play that one league game. To me, that's already an insanity. The footballers that that are playing in the clubs, they already have very, very difficult schedule when it comes to games. They need to play domestic cups. They need to play their home leagues. They need to play international football if they want, of course. But most of them want it because they are also getting something from playing for the national teams with the pride, and of course they are getting money from their own FAs to play with for their country. That's a fact. So why would they go and travel 1,000, 2,000 kilometers away from their own, home base to entertain a few thousand American fans? I'm just in shock that anyone is even considering it. And of course, people who never played football, who never had to, train every day and experience that kind of stuff, they are the ones that are making these decisions. So to me, that's just bollocks, and that shouldn't happen in today's game. I mean, we had a World Cup last season in the middle of last year in the middle of the season, and there was a whole, it was a calamity. First, it was poor organization, and then in the middle of the season, where half of the Europe got injured, literally, collectively, or not even Europe, half of the world, because it was a World Cup. It was so difficult. I mean, Bruno Fernandes last season played over 70 games of football. That's not normal. 38-year-old Luka Modric also played over 60 games for his home, for his club and country as well. That's not normal. But of course, they are special because they are not, human. They have amazing physiques. They can, how do you say it? They can withstand that pressure. But most of the players cannot. And I think that's an insanity. And of course, non-footballing people are making those decisions. They only care about money. And I hope this doesn't happen to English football. Besides Spain, Italy is doing that as well. We saw how Saudi Arabia fans love, fixtures like Roma versus Napoli, which held 2,000-3,000 fans in the stadium that can contain over 40,000 people, 50,000 people. It was literally worse than empty HUD, as one would say, jokingly. So it's just an insanity, and it's all about money these days. And you know what? I'm just fed up with it, in all honesty.
All right, Amonde, I'll ask you a slightly different question. You're a big boxing fan. Like, do you feel that... is this what you were going to say?
Yeah, we got great minds. Wow.
Yeah.
I was preparing my speech, and then Dora started hitting all my points. I was like, "Damn you, Dora! You're everything I want to say." And then bath time comes in and talks about boxing, which I was going to bring up as well.
Go for it. No. What I was going to ask you, right, is that when we saw like Joshua Ngannou or like, you know, Fury versus Ngannou in Saudi Arabia, we sort of saw almost like a facsimile, like a very poor impression of what that would have been like a boxing, you know, like a stadium in England or somewhere. How do you feel about all of this, like sort of transporting cultural events and things to different places? Like, what are your thoughts?
Firstly, it's not about the fans. I know fans that go up and back down the country all season following their team, and if they go to Europe as well. Big up to Johnny Core, Arsenal fan, my ex-gaffer. He goes everywhere with them. I don't know how he does it, but he always finds a way. And he goes to Europe, and he goes up north, you know. And he's a real trooper, a real fan, and they have a great time, you know. He spends a lot of money, but he does it for the club. And these people are underappreciated, you know, it seems to me. When you're talking about going elsewhere to play a Premier League football match, I agree with Dora. I think it's a bit of nonsense. What is the purpose? Not about the fans. It's about something else. It's about brand or selling something. I want to see what the outcome is of this. What is the purpose? I've seen in the comments, we're going to come to comments soon about NFL coming to Spurs Stadium, multi-use stadium. I understand that. But is NFL kicking off in the UK? Am I going to PE wearing my padded NFL uniform in school? I'm not, you know, it's never kicked off. Basketball as well, never kicked off in the UK. They've been pushing that for years, trying it for years. It's not really worked. But football's different slightly. Football's, I think, is a worldwide game. The difference is, the scenario I was going to give you is you could be having, if AJ, he's fighting the 18th against Usyk. If he beats Usyk, which I think...
That's Fury.
If Fury beats Usyk coming up very soon, it could be the big fight that everyone wants to see is AJ versus Tyson Fury, because we've seen AJ against Usyk twice already. We don't want to see that again. That fight should be in the UK because it's two British fighters and the fans want to see it. But likelihood is it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. Why? Because of money. Now, I've seen the atmosphere there. It's terrible. I've seen like things gone in China. It's a different atmosphere. You don't. For me, it's not like the vibes you're going to get with two English fighters. So two English teams should play in the UK, in England, maybe Scotland if you want to cross the border, and two boxers, especially big heavyweight boxers like AJ and Fury, should also fight in England. It just makes sense, doesn't it? You know. So I disagree with this. Unless BAFTA, you can justify what's the purpose is. Is it to big up football in Saudi Arabia? Is it to sort of bring is it for the benefit of the game of football? Do we need to have regions where they're isolated, they don't have football there? Would it help them develop in years to come? I don't know, but I'm willing. I'm all ears, and I'd like to hear what the comments think about this as well. But for me, I'm with Dora. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't benefit the fans, and it's all about money.
All right, let's get to the comments and stuff. Like Andrew has popped in. Hello, Andrew. Right, but saying the atmosphere created by the fans across the league makes it an exciting spectacle. I think it's impossible to have like the Premier League the way it is in other countries. Like in terms of like our match going culture is different. The same way that like anyone who saw Borussia Dortmund versus PSG last night, you saw the German fan culture. Like you can't. I don't think that you can sort of transplant a match from a league and expect it to be similar. Like I have to say, a German fan culture is incredible, except for one thing that really annoys me, which is that they whistle during the match, and it always annoys me when I hear whistling in matches because I think it's the ref. Monday, you've got all spooky. Right, Bart is saying moving the league abroad, like the NFL, will eventually kill the golden goose. So he's saying that doing this is bad for the game's long-term health. One thing that I always remember during the Super League is the Real Madrid president, like Perez, he said that they'd seen studies that suggested that things like TikTok and social media had really driven the concentration span of young fans down. And this is where like legacy fans come from, is that legacy fans are always going to be there, but they have to aggressively pursue the new generation because football it's not growing at the same rate it used to be. So I'm not sure. And then Sigmund is saying it's no surprise that the Premier League is completely detached from its fan base. Even City's hearing is behind closed doors. No longer the people's game. Detox, get down the park, jumpers for goalposts. I agree, Monday. I suspect you do as well.
What a wonderful comment. Yeah, wonderful comment. Just going back to what you said before, if you look at cricket, I love test match cricket. That's the real test of a cricketer, the bowler, the batsman, the team. And I don't mind 5 days. I don't mind if it's over 5 days. Now, TV scheduling would say, oh, how can we cover that? But you used to back in the day. The BBC, even Sky Sports, up to a few years ago, loved to do a test match. Nowadays, you've seen the different forms of cricket they have. It's like you said about the concentration levels. It's just go out there, swing your bat like baseball, and 2020, and it's over and done with, and entertain the fans and all these fireworks and all this entertainment. To me, that's not cricket. It's whack. There's a lot of money in it. I see that with the IPL and everything else. But for me, that's not cricket. You lose the art form, you lose the skill, and I'd rather go back to test match, and that should still to this day is the best, but it's losing its value. So like you said about the concentration span of younger generation, or what they call them, Generation X or 2000, when you're born in 2000s, something like
Zoomers.
That. What they call them?
Generation Z, I think. Zoomers. Is that? Yeah.
You guys are terrible. Stop it. That's not from me. That's in the spirit of Mr. B, because he would say the same damn thing.
Right. Now we've got a counterpoint, which I love, which is that Andrew is a big fan of NFL, and he goes to Wembley every year to watch the NFL game. And it is extremely popular, that NFL match. Loads of people go to it. And this is the sort of counter side to it, is that you've got fans who love the sport, but because of location, geography, money and things, they're not able to see the teams that they play live. And we know that like in India, people are getting up at 4 a.m, Australia, things like this. Are we being parochial and selfish by demanding that the sport stays in the league where it is when our clubs have aggressively pursued globalism?
May I just answer that? I don't think it's practical. Like people need, like, all due respect, I think, if United and Ipswich play tomorrow in New York, American United fans are going to, that stadium would be full.
Yeah.
I strongly believe so, because they are very loyal. They, as you said, at that time, just like the fans in India, just like the fans in Australia. If I lived there, I would do it if I had to get up in the 3 a.m, I would watch that game too, as well. And I would probably go if I am, able to, go to it. But it's not practical in the middle of the season. And I think, the people who are deciding, having those decisions and discussions about how they are going to, extend that, or maybe thank the foreign fans for their, amazing support. I don't think this is the way to do it in the middle of the season, where players need to travel for 3,000, 2,000 miles, and postpone maybe matches in England when they come home that are probably 2 days later after that. I mean, we saw City and the Club World Cup. We already discussed it once, that it's a nonsense tournament, but it has been for more than 20 years already, so people are doing it. But you have so many factors, and great fans, great foreign support for Manchester United, especially, including me, who is foreigner. But some things, like, it's just, they need to stay in the country, in their home country, because it's just not practical, not just for the for some other things, but first and foremost for the players who need to, who are already full of, they have to play every third day, especially, for example, when Christmas time comes, especially in England. No one is playing games. Only English are playing. Only English Premier League is playing.
All right, Dora. But what if, right? You're citing practical reasons here, which I don't agree with, because practically, I think it can be done very easily, where you put 4 teams out in America for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You give them like a week to acclimatize, and then a week to acclimatize back in the UK, and they're out there playing each other like on the East Coast or something. So you send Liverpool, United, Crystal Palace, and Fulham out for a month to America. And the games are on at the same time as they would be in the UK. So they're playing at 10 in the morning or whatever it is, or, they're playing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for late games. Practically, I think that looks after like the players, their conditioning, gives them recovery time. Does that alleviate your concerns, or is it a deeper issue?
I mean, when you put it like that, it makes more sense. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe I need to think about it more. But so this is, me from the get-go. I just think it's a dumb idea. I mean, you have international tournaments. No, I mean,
yeah,
cool. Me, I mean, I'm a foreign fan as well. I am saving my money to go to Manchester and watch the home game. I will probably do it. It's easier for me, I don't know. It's not maybe that easy, but it's just I don't see it that way. I would rather go by myself there and see, even the city of Manchester, where Manchester United is, the people there,
the Trinity statue,
the whole. Sorry,
the Trinity statue.
Of course, I think that's
that Bubsy way.
Yeah, I want to see it all. Yeah, I want to see it all. I mean, it's great. For example, look, I always said, I hope when we weren't in the Champions League and Dinamo Zagreb is in Europa League, I always hoped, okay, I hope Manchester United, get Dinamo Zagreb so I can go to the game. But as a United fan, I want to experience it, right? As you said, the trio statue, the people there, the Mancunians, the match. I want to meet match-going fans. I want to feel that atmosphere at Old Trafford. I want to hang out with people, in a pub after. So I get the whole point. I get that, it's kind of, of course it's about money, but on the other side, it's about rewarding the fans that are, supporting the team so much during the season. But that's why there are friendlies, there are pre-seasons, and all those kind of things. If you get my drift, so I get what you're saying. I just feel that it's such a pain in the ass to organize all that thing, and you also need to of course players are going to say, oh, we are going to see America, we are going to see we are going to hang out.
Yeah, they've got families and babies and things.
Of course. Or
I think you've arrived. I think you've arrived at the heart of the matter for me, which is that like fans should always be first, and match-going fans should always be put first.
Of course.
They've contributed to the league as much as the treble team and things like that, because Stuart Marshall, Andy Tate, they've been going for 30 or 40 years. They spend all their money. They give their lives up to Manchester United. And I think that for fans that want the Manchester United experience, if you ask them deep down, like it would be great to have a half an hour drive to go and see Manchester United play at a stadium in America. I don't know the names of any. But really, what they want is they want to come and experience the Arndale Centre, and they want to go to like Old Trafford and see what the authentic experience is. And when we transplant games to different places, I think it loses its authenticity, which in the long run will damage the health of the game.
Yeah.
Amonde, before we get to the comments, do you have any, has Dora changed your mind, or what's going on up there?
No. It's a good discussion, but I want to hear what the comments have to say, because I've seen some good points being out there.
All right.
You got the Williams sisters. They're going back and forth.
I know. Oh, are they? I haven't. I've been talking, so I haven't looked at it yet. But the Williams sisters.
Well, in tennis, the Williams sisters, when they get to the final, they play rallies. That's what the Williams brothers are doing in the comments right now.
All right. Well, Vincent was saying the NFL has been coming to the UK for donkey's years, even back when we had the old Wembley. It'll be okay, I suspect, as one-off couple of games, but it ain't going to kick off a tournament every week, people. People will always love our football first over NFL. And then to go back to the sort of boxing, like Sigmund's talking about Ben Eubank back in the day. They were on television interviews together, and things. It was really, really exciting. And who were the other two? I always call him Perry Groves, which I know is wrong.
Groves and Froch.
That was incredible, wasn't it?
Not compared to what Sigmund's talking about here. I think the Ben Eubank thing was massive. It was at the Manchester NEM arena. As one of the first big events there, from I remember anyway. That was the rematch, the MEM. But what a personality Ben and Eubank were. They really sort of captured the imagination of all the fans back in the day.
I love Chris Eubank. And also shout out to the Co-op Live arena in Manchester, which has basically replaced the MEM. It's in the Etihad complex of up near the Bradford area of London, of Manchester, and it's having an absolute disaster. So I hope that Manchester can get that place to work, because it's their big indoor venue now. All right, we've got Bart saying some countries like Italy and Spain play their equivalent of the Charity Shield abroad. Maybe play your Charity Shield elsewhere. I don't know. Combine it with Comic Relief. All right, so we've got our first sighting of one of the Williams sisters. The changing of rules in the Champions League football has also diminished the competition. The away goal used to be valuable and made teams attack away from home. Now teams are happy to sit back. I'd like to come back to this, but have they argued about the away goal rule? Because I think it's a really interesting concept.
I think it's a good point. It's not on topic, but Tyron's always presented a good point there.
I'm happy to spin off. And talking of spin, Test cricket is the best.
Good one.
Thank you. Unfortunately, only 3 countries play all formats equally, but the traditional format has been rescued by the World Test Championships timely introduction. I don't know a huge amount about cricket, and I'm not a great lover of it, but I do think it's really cool that you can play 5 days, have breaks for tea and things, and it all comes down to one moment where you do a bowl or whatever, and they've got to get a run or a wicket. And I think that something like that is really important to keep in sport. It's such an incredible climax that everyone can enjoy the same way penalties are accessible to anyone anywhere. It has to go in the net.
So says Bath Time, the lead singer of 10cc.
I don't like cricket. Yeah, I love it. All right. Tyrone, he's talking about European football. So have Tyrone and Andrew been arguing? Is this what?
No, they're just having brotherly love.
They're having a chat. All right.
Over the dinner table, yeah. They're probably having dinner together.
This is another good one. I get Tyrone, are you a bit like me, where in your personal life you don't actually have the opportunity to talk about football a lot? So when it comes to sort of like a fan chat, there's just so much stuff you want to talk about. Because I agree, FA Cup has been ruined by no replays. Some genius decided to make the semi-final take place at Wembley, which diminishes the final. Because am I correct in thinking it used to be Villa Park and Old Trafford where we had the FA Cup semi-finals? Right. Yeah. If we are going to take the money from foreign countries, surely we have to put something back. And this really is a very good flip side of the argument, is that the Premier League has chased the global dollar. And I mean, Amonde, when you were out in New Zealand, because we were both Southern Hemisphere boys, how much of United did you get to see? Were you waking up like the games? I think were on about 9 o'clock, the 3 o'clockers. Yeah. Were you getting up for them?
From what I recall, I used to watch Champions League football on ESPN back in the day. They used to show games like that, but it was very difficult to watch games because of the time difference, So a lot of the time it'd be some. I remember one afternoon I had a girlfriend out there, and I used to go around her house because she had ESPN and chill and watch the game during just after training or something. So afternoon, it was like the afternoon, early afternoon. I'll be sitting there watching the game when it's really 7:30 in Europe, you know. But yeah, very difficult with the time scheduling, especially in that part of the world. What about you in Chile? Was it difficult to watch football?
Yeah, it was, because I wasn't a very good professional, as it were, and I was out quite late, or I was training and things. So a lot of 3 o'clocks, and definitely the 12:30s, not a chance. But I remember I felt so disconnected. Like, that was the thing that I felt most disconnected from in the UK, was that I wasn't watching United and stuff. So when I was like emailing or Skyping my family and stuff like that, I hadn't seen like Tevez, Rooney and Ronaldo tearing it up against Portsmouth or something. And it's so important to keep that connection. All right. And now we've got Agile Beast here. As for living in Arizona, I would like it from a selfish point of view, but I don't think it should happen. Phoenix is the 5th largest city and still don't have an MLS team. I'm really pissed off about that.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I think I always think of people like Jeff. Shout out, Jeff. We don't know where you are or how you are, but I hope that you're alive, my friend, and you can come back and run the Twitter account for me. But I do sort of think of these people that we know that come and see us every night. They would absolutely love to go and see United round the corner from them. And that, with the best of intentions, they're unlikely to see United play 20 times, 30 times in their life. And yet they dedicate so much thought and time to it. But I do wonder if we are being parochial about saying the Premier League games can only be in Manchester or in England or whatever. Right. Apple are paying out $1 billion for the new World Club Championship. Sadly, this is just going to continue. So I assume that will be on Apple TV, and it's another subscription that we all have to get. And then I quite like Tyrone. Am I the only one who has zero interest in American sports? No, you're not, Tyrone. Dora, you must love basketball, being Croatian, or is that stereotyping?
No, I love basketball.
There
I
we
love
go.
it. Yeah, especially American one. NBA is amazing this season as well. So I like that sport, that American sport.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got Eddie popping in. He can't help but look ahead to the Asna game. Palace will be a good tester. So Asna is Arsenal, but I've never understood where this Asna thing comes from. Is this like Monday? Do you have any idea? Our London correspondent.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to work that one out. Maybe someone in the comments can help us out with that. I call them goon bugs because they're like pests. And that's my. Everyone knows me.
I think it came from one of the fan channels. I think it became a meme. I think maybe from Arsenal fan. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think something like that. I think they made that song about party, and they, started saying Asna.
I quite like that party.
I think I know. I think it's to do with like the North London accent. Like say the water in Mallorca. We don't say water and all that. My ass. Oops,
probably.
Asna. It's just the way it's pronounced. I imagine. I don't know. Can help out. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got an important update from Andrew. I don't like cricket. I love it. I absolutely love that song as well. Yeah. And we got Mr. POTUS in the house, all the way from the White House, and he's a jolly man because he said we are doomed against Palace. I can see them winning 3-1. And then Bart is saying, I'm like that. I usually talk a lot of science in my day job and waffle football here. Good for you, by Bart. Oh, so Sigmund used to live in California. I used to call local bars with different voices throughout the week so that they'd open for a group of people at 3 a.m. I felt that bad, but it worked for about 6 months. And right. I like that one as well. Asna from an African meme. Research it. Yeah, sorry. And then Elise and Eze to run riot against Asna. All right. So we're 50 minutes into the show and we've done one slide. Let's whiz through. Okay. couple of injuries and things. Martinez and Martial are back in training. Bruno is actually a doubt for this game. I'd be stunned if Bruno doesn't play. Evans and Willie are still doubts. Lindelof is out, so it's probably going to be Maguire and Casemiro again. And then this one is a bit of a shocker to me. McTominay's training on Saturday and is in. And if he's past fit, he's in contention to play against Palace, which seems crazy to me. Amonde.
Yeah, they said he was 6 weeks, and we worked that out the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was towards the end of May, and we're just in the 2nd of May. So he's got Wolverine type healing powers. He must do. That's amazing.
All right, there's some transfer stuff. Right, basically we've been linked to Elise. Rashford's not going anywhere. Greenwood, people want Juve and Letty want him. Rabiot is in contention to be a free signing. And Sancho is going to leave the club regardless of Ten Hag or whatever happens. Let's start off with Elise. Yes or no?
All right, I'll start with this. For me,
Yeah.
it's a yes. When he's on form like it has been, this is a guy who's played. He was at Reading. He's been signed by Palace. He was at Arsenal before, in around similar to Eze, getting thrown out of clubs. He's starting to be a real threat, and he's got the ability of coming off to the left. Will he be better than Anthony? Will he be better than Ahmad? Possibly yes, because he's more proven in the Premier League. It depends about the money, but I think it's if we're interested in him and we've been looking at him, and since we have been, I've been looking at him even closer. I think it's a yes from me, Bob. The man from Del Monte says yes. Bring him on.
Ooh, I think in theory he would be. I would love him, but I think he's quite injury prone. And you know what? With everything that has been happening with us in this season, I'm just really cautious with these guys. I mean, we got Lisandro Martinez. He played great 20 games for us. Since then, he's been injured, which is insane. He's been here, this is his 2nd season, right? So, yeah, I'm a bit cautious, but I like him. I like his profile. I think he likes to dribble. He's quite he's smart. He thinks about the game, and he is, he's pretty direct, which I love. Is he a right winger, Omondi? He's left. I mean, he would be a massive. How do I say it? He will be much better than Anthony. Massive improvement. Yeah, much better than Anthony.
Sorry,
so, yeah.
Bath and Dora, I just want to say this. Look, we have to start believing in the people that we're targeting these days because of the change of guards. We've got new ownership. We've got new people on board who are recommending players. I have to trust. I'm trusting, giving a lot of faith into who they're identifying as players. And I'm saying, okay, I've heard that he's injury prone. I spoke to Dr. Gaspire, Crystal Palace fan. He said that's more of a myth. He's not actually injury prone. He's okay. And I think at his age, he's ready to kick on from now. So this would be a good time to sign him before he starts blowing up even more than he is at the moment. So his form, if you check it out, is really good. There's the times that he has played. If you look at the record, the performance and the stats, it's very, very good. So I'm trusting in the scouting network that we have at the moment that we're introducing, and this will be a great time to reassess how well we've employed these guys because the targets will be very interesting this summer.
Well, I have a friend who is like decently placed in football, and one thing that he has always told me about players from lower leagues or from lower clubs is that you want to look at the ones that take set pieces. They should all if you're looking at a player from a club or a league that you don't think is as good as yours, you want to be looking at the set piece takers because they are always the players that have the best ball striking technique in the team. And Elise takes set pieces, which I think's like very, very important. I find that quite encouraging. But first of all, I've got to bring up Mr. Potus's comment. He said, "Why did the mods delete my comment?" I'm very sorry, Mr. Potus. I think that was me misclicking when I was trying to load some comments up. So my apologies. I don't think you've. I genuinely I can't remember the last time anyone censored anything on this channel. You can say pretty much whatever you want. All right. So Edison got 16 likes. I'm on. Andrew says no way to Elise, and shout out to my man DK Wilson, all the way from the fighting state of Oklahoma. His injury was downgraded to 2 weeks. Blimey. All right. I'm on day. Elise plays 25 games a year. I have to say, I think this is true, as I saw some stuff about how often Elise is out injured, but maybe that is just him being managed a little bit better, and there are lower expectations at Crystal Palace, so they don't have as many sort of like must-win matches for the manager to keep his job. It is a different environment down there. Yeah. Mr. POTUS, I'm interested to know what is and isn't allowed on YouTube sometimes. You just have to be respectful on this channel. You're in our house. Everyone here is in our house, and just treat someone exactly the same way you would as if they were a guest in your house. Like if they start doing shits on the stairs, you can tell them off. But if they express an opinion that is different to yours, don't go mental. That's literally all we want.
Boban.
All right. I don't know who this player is, Martin Hulmand. I've never seen João Neves play, but apparently he's very good. But Tyrone is saying that these two, who are midfielders, should be where we target instead of a right winger. Do you agree with this, Dora? Would you look at sorting the midfield first before attacking options?
Oh my God, I don't. I think we need that player next to Mainu. Because I think Mainu is probably going to be our future number 6, as it seems. And I think we need another midfielder. Is it going to be, I don't know, someone like Frankie de Jong, or is it going to be someone like, I don't know, but the player like, McTominay in terms of, he's, kind of similar profile, but doesn't have that much, ball in his legs or whatever. I just don't know. I think this is a tough one. I think if we first need a coach that is going to fix, us, our fundamentals, and I think we start from there. But if I look at it, I think we need someone in attack. I think we need a striker. I think that's a huge issue. I think midfield is more fixable with what we have right now. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, Beth, you're asking me tough questions. We need 7 players. We need at least 7 new players this summer, or maybe.
But it's where we focus. So what you're telling me is that you think with better coaching, the midfield's all right, but we absolutely need reinforcements in central striking areas. So does that mean the wings, like the wide areas, we're okay for now, or we should concentrate on, say, left back, defense, midfield, striker before we address those areas?
It's a really tough question, in all honesty. So I'm going to shoot it out of my head immediately. I'm not going to think about it. I would probably look for a defender. I would look for a defender, in all honesty.
All right, because we'll see. Have we got any defenders up here? No.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, let me move you so people can see you. Right. Amonde, Andorra, Rabiot. Free transfer? Yes or no?
Well, yes, for the experience. I think Juve is sort of like not the force they were financially, or the law is not there anymore. Obviously, they've lost Paul Pogba for reasons with PEDs and we get tested like that. This guy Rabiot, we've been interested in him for a long time now. He's got a lot of character. I think he's a good player, good end, can carry the ball really well, and he would be a good asset for our team for what we got right now. So for the experience, good age, I think that's one player you need in midfield, because I think when you're making a signing, like I said earlier, trust the guys that are making the identifying players at the moment. With Rabiot, he's proven he can come to the UK and really step up his stock. His stock will get really high playing for Manchester United. So it would be a good move for him, and he's free. So it's just about the wage and that kind of thing. But I think he'd be a good addition because he's got experience, of playing in the Italian league. He's a French international, World Cup winner, and he's got a left foot. He can drive midfield as well, really well. Gives you a bit more balance, doesn't it, with midfield?
Yes.
Left foot, right foot, that sort of thing. So I think he'll be a good signing. The fact that he turned us down in the past, or whether he did or not, that we were interested in, he remained at Juve. That I don't really care about that. I just think you've got to identify the right target. So he's someone who's developed. We also need to prove that we can develop players at our club. Don't just buy 22-year-olds and say we're going to buy young players. They're already developed. How do they develop? How do they get to that stage? You know, what are we going to do to develop them on? That's been an issue over the last 10 years with most fans, that we ain't developing players. We're not improving players. How can you remember? Can you remember the last player that came to us that improved at our club? That needs to change as well. So I want to see a player like Rabiel come in. That's a good signing. He's free. He's experienced. But also I want to see continued development, players coming through where we're proving that our young players are getting developed and getting ready, set up, which is the main goal of youth development, into the first team. And then also on top of that, just sprinkle a couple of players in and around, and then you're going to have a decent squad and good balance there.
Okay, I mean, Dora, personally for me, I love the fact that Rabiot is left-footed. I think that, like, one of the big things, the only thing that we'd really miss from Fred is that he was left-footed, and it gives balance to a midfield. I think that he's physically brilliant. He's a big, strong boy who's mobile, who can get around. We've seen him perform really well in international tournaments. He has the pedigree with the clubs he's played for. What are the negatives to Rabiot, and where do you stand on signing him?
Well, his entourage, his mother is his agent, and she is very, strict, to put it mildly. In all honesty, I think that one of the biggest mistakes that some of the people or footballers do is putting their family members in charge of their career decisions and finances. And as we saw, a lot of for example, someone like
Pogba?
What's his fate? Pogba. Mauro Icardi with his strange wife.
Oh, Wanda.
Wanda, yeah, Wanda. Wanda. She has a name like a witch. In all honesty, well, if you're from here. So yeah, he has a lot of baggage, and he's 29. He will probably want a lot of money. He will probably want something like 250K a week, which we as fans are sick and tired of, because every single season we see the players that are on most money, they're just underperforming. They get a bag and they just stop playing, or they just don't care, as we saw a lot this season. So I think he has a lot of baggage. But if you
yes
look at
or no?
No.
No. Right. So it's a yes from Monday. It's a no from Dora. I actually have to say, Dora has really swayed me with the 29 years old, no resale value, huge transfer fee. It's got Eriksen, Casemiro written all over it, isn't it? Where maybe one good season, 2 good seasons, and then it's a financial weight around our legs. So I'm doing the comments.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I saw that comment. I thought it was related to what
do you see the star next to it as well? And look. All right, well, we are going to do the comments. First of all, I want to say hello to James, who's becoming a bit of a regular.
Hi, James.
Well, my friend. Right, Vincent, I don't want us buying people who have only got 1 year left on their contracts and only paying about 40 million for the player.
Mount.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely about Mount. POTUS, this is one of the surefire ways to get banned from this channel, which is bringing up Victor Osimhen. I had to mute Victor Osimhen on Twitter about 2 years ago. He is a fantastic centre forward, I'll give you that, but it drives me mental how often he's brought up as the answer to United's problems, when I just don't. I think he's a fantastic player and a really top striker, but I don't think that's what we need at the moment. What Bart is saying is 2 centre-backs, 1 left-back, 1 CDM and 1 striker. I can't disagree there. I think that's where my priorities would lie as well. It's just the profile of the player that I'd be concerned about. And I also wouldn't mind to upgrade Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think now I've found out Frimpong is homegrown and is available for 35 million. It seems.
Also, sorry to cut you off, but the people from Manchester, some of my sources from Manchester, the people I talked to, said that his entourage, his agent or whatever, they're settling, or what are they doing? They're opening an office. His agency is opening an office in Manchester, which is quite. Yes, Frimpong's agency or agent who is employed, like something like that.
I hate modern
Maybe
football.
It's not. Yeah,
I hate it so much. Like,
yes.
An agent is renting an office in somewhere, and that means he's coming. Jesus Christ! What has the world come to?
Exactly, but that was a joke, of course. I don't think he is going to. But there are rumors that he's probably going to, which is interesting because I think we were connected to him or rumored to get him a few years ago when he was a youngster.
It's always been him and Dumfries in it. Like those are the two right-sided players always linked to. Oops, and they're quite consistent. Where I think that both of them are less defenders and more like they're more traditional wing backs, where they're providing the width out wide and coming back and defending. So it'd be interesting. POTUS, he wants rid of Anthony and Ten Hag. And Bart is saying that as well as these two midfielders, he wants two quality fullbacks. Do you know what, Tyrone? I was thinking about. I read an article in the Athletic the other day, and it was an interview with Declan Rice, who I admire tremendously as a football player. And he was talking about at Arsenal, they don't switch the ball like diagonally as much as other teams do, because when you get someone like Saka, you think, oh, great, let's isolate Saka 1v1 with his fullback. But at Arsenal, they think that players like Saka are much more effective when they have more options around them. So they don't like to get Saka in isolated situations. They prefer to move players around him to do it. And it's been making me wonder, with Anthony has had an uptick in form recently, the more central that he's played and the more players that have been around him. I wonder if you're correct and that we would see better performances from Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony and Diallo if there were better quality attacking fullbacks around them that give them more options to combine and go on the outside. Something we often say about how Rashford misses Shaw. So I think that's a really good point, Tyrone. Mr. POTUS is saying we need a left back and a centre back the most. And now Tyrone is talking about how actually we do have some decent fullbacks. We've got Delo, Amas, Alvaro Fernandez. Right, let's get to the Rabiot stuff. All right, Anthony is saying Rabiot's mother is as big as an embarrassment as Xavi's mother, which, if you know the Xavi story, that's quite something. Do you know the Xavi story, Amonde?
I actually don't know. Can you tell me?
She's rumoured to have had relations with a few of the first team players in the squad at Barcelona.
LeBron James style. Is that right?
Did his mum get up to that?
Yes, I remember that. I know that story, Amondi. Oh my God. About
No. So if you see Gavi moving to Manchester United, shout out the first team players. Shout out Casemiro. Right, and then Tyrone is saying he thinks Rabiot's bad news. Would be wise to steer clear. He's free, but United needs to stop being stingy and invest in youth. My concern is that I like having experienced players around the squad. I think it's vitally important. And someone like Johnny Evans is always brought up as a great example. Don't forget that 6 or 7 years ago, Johnny Evans was getting done for stealing taxis in pre-season with Danny Drinkwater hammered. I think that Rabiot probably isn't a great example to our youth players. And I'm a little bit concerned about someone like Garnacho. I think could go either way. I'd like some really good professionals in our club, and I'm not sure if Rabiot is that. And then here we got Agile saying he thinks that Anthony will play a lot better in a possession-dominant team with United camped in the opposition half. Dora, you're not a huge fan of Anthony. Do you think there's a way to get a player out of him?
Yeah, if he doesn't have a ball at his feet that much, in all honesty. Look, he is having good movement. I'm not, disputing that. He has a good movement. He, he listens to what the manager is saying, obviously, because he's always in good spaces. He's, looking for open channels, but he doesn't have legs, or he just simply is, he doesn't. His decision making is kind of sus, and I'm now sounding like a Gen Z, but it's suspicious in my opinion. I mean, look at that game. Even the last game we played, he scored that goal, but before that, he could have scored 3 more if he was more composed, more not so erratic, and just made better decisions. Maybe that he want to score a goal finally, first goal of the season after we were in April, and he still hasn't got any goals in his tally. Maybe that kind of how do you say, distracted him or made him more erratic with the ball. But I just feel that the less that he has the ball in his feet, the better he is. In all honesty, just like give me my ball. If he needs to, pass it, that last pass or that shot. But other than that, I just don't think he's that good.
I have to agree. His ball striking is so erratic. Like when you think about Robin, or like Robin's always the prime example of someone cutting in and hitting the left foot. It didn't always go in, but there was a consistency to the striking, and similar to how we talk about Elise, like taking corners and things. That ball striking, that inability to consistently hit the ball cleanly, makes me think that Anthony will never make the grade as a top player. Amonde?
Yeah.
I think it's a good conversation. I think Anthony just needs to calm down. He's aggressive. He wants to go out and improve things far too much. I think if he settles down in the Premier League, we can find a role for him. It's like when with Cavani, he's someone you always identify. So go and watch Cavani, how he creates space as a striker. I think he should go and watch someone like Dejan Savicevic, who's also left-footed.
Yeah.
Talented and similar to Anthony. Talented, great on the dribble, and not the quickest. But he was at one stage one of the best players in the world, playing for AC Milan and Red Star in '91 and Yugoslavia. What a player, what a talent. And I think he should look at someone like that and say, how did he make himself effective in a tough Italian league where there's players in and around you at all times? He made himself effective because he was around a good team, and when it's needed, could explode and do something special. And I think Anthony's got that in the locker. I'm not giving up on Anthony just yet, but I think he needs to go and get some advice, calm down, and watch Dejan.
Do you know what, Amanda? It's a good point, but I have to disagree with it. Like, first of all, I remember the Sevilla game away where Anthony turned the match into a fight with Acuna, the left back from Argentina. And I remember thinking that you're making it about yourself. It's not about the team. Your goal now is to sort of beat this guy and stuff. And I even felt he played a little bit like that in the last match where we saw him sort of committing players. But I go back to the ball striking, where there are a lot of players in the Premier League that if they were consistent and just kind of learned a few things, they would become genuinely like incredible players. Like, it's about consistency. Like, if you look at someone like Phil Foden, he's got everything you need to be the best player in the world, but he's not consistent enough with the choices and decisions that he makes. He's on the half turn too much. He doesn't slow the game down. Like these things that separate him from, say, Bernardo Silva. But that's not about technique. That's about mentality and understanding the game. With Anthony, I come back to that ball striking. It's too erratic. He doesn't.
Might be erratic, but he can. If you look at some of his goals, every time he cuts off onto his left foot, I think he can always curl it into the top bins. He's got that about him. He can do it. So I think ball striking is a bit unfair. I think he does really.
No, I don't think that's unfair. Like,
he can strike the ball really well.
I mean, we don't have that. I just wanted to make a joke. What all 4 goals that he scored for us? Come on, he didn't score that much for us, unfortunately. I just wanted to make a joke. Sorry.
I mean, like you look at the goal he scored against Arsenal, fantastic, and I really thought, like, his debut and stuff like that. But since then, think of all the shots that he has taken, all the crosses that he's put in. There's never consistent quality on them.
Agreed. But
and that's what I mean.
But to say he hasn't got good ball striking.
He doesn't.
No, he didn't say it. He said he hasn't got consistent. He says he's erratic. That I can accept, but he can strike a good ball. If what he was doing at Ajax, cutting in from the right onto his left foot, top bins, did it several times. I remember watching a game towards the end of his last season against PSV. He'd done the same thing. Bam, top bins, gets a yard and can do it. I just think, calm down. You're at Man United. Settle down, young man, because he is young still. Got to give him that, and let's see what he can do. I would keep him at the club.
All right, and we've got Mr. POTUS is from Canada, apparently, despite being the president of the United States. He wants Alphonso Davies at United. Obviously, like, there's going to be bias there because he's Canadian, and you want to see your best players at the club you support. And God, we got so many comments, but I'm really bad at this, by the way, lads, when I'm hosting. All right. Bart is saying that Anthony can watch Duff, Robin, Salah. You're such an idiot, Bart. All right, we've got Big G in the house. Say, oi, oi, batties. And Anthony in a possession-based team would be better. I mean, there are very few players, though, that wouldn't be better in a team that have more of the ball. And he says that Anthony needs to be more direct. He likes to caress the ball into the goal, but he should lace it more. I think the difference, right, is that we're gonna finish the show quickly, but we'll maybe talk about Sancho later on in the week or something. Yeah. But I think that, like, when I watched Sancho play last night, I was struck how he was in 1v1s a lot of the time against his fullback, which doesn't really happen in the Premier League. It's normally a 2v1 where you have a midfielder covering. And it made me think of Anthony about how these little things where a little bit more space is cut off and you have a little bit less time, that's what leads to erratic striking, because he doesn't have the time to set himself correctly. Everything's got to be done quicker. And I think that when you look at Sancho's performance and Anthony's performance in Europe, I don't think that they can do that in the Premier League just because of how differently things are set up. Dora's agreeing, but Monday you've got a very blank sort of Easter Island statue face on. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
First of all, I'm happy for the young man. It's kind of like retribution for him to get a man a match in the semi-final. Big up to Sabitzer as well. 2 players were at Man United last season, so this is really good to see that these guys are not trashed and that they can go and do something for themselves. They must feel really proud of themselves right now, and they're halfway to a final Champions League. I don't think they get there. I think Paris will batter them in Paris. The amount of possession they had yesterday, but Sancho had a few moments. Obviously, the young fullback was a bit naive up against him.
Yeah,
we know he's got the talent. We know he's got the skill to do things, cutbacks, all that kind of thing. He was doing that at Man United. I didn't see anything he did yesterday that I haven't seen him do at Man United. It's just the numbers, isn't it? And the confidence. I just think, once again, just people might be saying, look, we made the wrong decision. We didn't make the wrong decision. He refused to apologise. Don't forget that. And don't forget, guys, he let us down as fans. He took out some time when he went on his vacation to the retreat, wherever he needed to sort his head out. That was done during term time. During the season. And also, he took time out because he didn't want to apologise. Why not just wait to the end of the season and say, look, I'm done. I'm going to commit myself. All right, I'll grit my teeth through this one. I'll commit myself for the fans and try and get United up there. But no, he didn't care about that. He didn't care. Yeah. So that's, for me, yes, you can go to Dortmund where you can get away with stuff, but we are proving something. Well, the point that we made overall from this is that we proved we are a flipping good club now with discipline, and we're not going to, anyone who's got a bad attitude, we're going to filter out. And unfortunately, Sancho, you might be holding a man in a match award or might get to a final. It means nothing to us. We're building something built on rock.
I kind of agree, Monday. Like, Dora, I think you like this comment.
Yeah,
Whether
absolutely agree.
should apologise for Sancho for having a half decent game. Classless from a perennial feeder club. Nice, Tyrone. And look, Agile Beast has come in and says that Anthony has a top speed of 34.3 kilometers an hour. He's actually faster than people give him credit for. What's that over though? Like, is that over 10 yards, 20 yards, 40 yards? Like, 'cause it makes a huge difference because Maguire, I think, has recorded 34 kilometers as well. And we know that he's not exactly Usain Bolt. But Dora, I'm a bit worried, right? Because we've done like an hour and 20 minutes, and now we're touching on a sort of a really hot topic in Sancho.
Mhm.
What are you thinking?
I agree with your points. I think that he's just not built for the Premier League. With all due respect to him, I think he's a talented guy. I was really excited when we signed him. There was a whole soap opera, telenovela happening when we, tried to sign him. We finally did it for 70 odd, I think, £1 million, if I'm not mistaken. That same year, I think Ronaldo came in as well. And I think everything fell apart, in all honesty, for Ole and for our, season aspirations and everything else. I think that season was cursed. I don't know what is happening in his private life. I honestly don't even try to research it. I'm just seeing on Twitter that, he is very poor with his training schedules. He needed people to remind him to go to the trainings at Borussia Dortmund. He's playing FIFA. When we played in the European games, when him and Ten Hag had that falling out, when he didn't apologize, he played FIFA when we were, playing Copenhagen or whoever. So his attitude stinks. I don't know. Is it connected to that vacation that Ten Hag gave him earlier this year, or at the beginning of 2023 when he had 3 months off? We gave them. I mean, I have a lot of things to say against Ten Hag, especially with the way he is coaching football at the moment at Manchester United. But I always, praise him for that, because I think that mental health is really important, and footballers aren't different. And I think he provided him that. How do you say it? That cushion to regenerate and have that time off if he needed it. I just feel that after that he didn't perform. I don't think that even the bad how do you say it, tactical style or whatever affected him that much. I just don't think that he's not physical enough. He's not fast enough. I think he's a creative. I always felt that he would be the one to take that, how do you say it, baggage or responsibility from Bruno to create, because he's a creative winger that I absolutely loved to watch at Borussia before we signed him. And then he came in, he kind of showed it, but then he didn't. He just disappears.
Do you think, Dora, sorry, do you think he might have been boosted by having Haaland in the team, like a world-class striker?
I think that whole year for Borussia was, they had some, was Jude then or he came after Haaland left, Jude Bellingham? I'm not sure. But, they had a really solid team. I don't think that they won anything, in all honesty, but, they were always solid. They had some great games. Haaland was scoring left and right. Everyone wanted him. I think that's a really good, how do you say it? Of course, you need to predict, or you need to know where your teammate is going to be. But Haaland already at his young age showcased that he is, really intelligent, striker, and he's very capable of doing that. And I think that helped him. But even before, Haaland and all that, I thought that he is talented. It's just that, in all honesty, I just think that he came to the league and he wasn't ready. So, and I'm hearing a lot, and I know people like to speculate. I'm hearing that, he got entangled with a wrong crowd in Manchester, and that's a whole other topic. Is it something in his private life that affected him as well to not perform well for Manchester United? Maybe, but I mean, to me, after this season, after everything that happened, I think that's just a closed chapter. In all honesty, I mean, I wish him all the best at Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got a couple of comments before we close for the night.
Yeah.
Well, James is saying Heath was in the wrong just as much as Sancho, to be honest. Always an excuse, Dora. Always out here making excuses non-stop. Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
In the Prem, you're up against faster, stronger opposition. Sancho can't hack it. I hope he stays in Germany. He's found his level. I think another good point is that German football, to me, seems like a glorified training session of just transitions. And like when I watched Borussia Dortmund play last night, I remember I think that they look like just a very colourful version of Brentford, and that maybe the style of football out there is more suited to Sancho when he has a last when Haaland just ran the lines. Dortmund, he wasn't involved in build-up play, and we've seen that that's something he obviously struggles with in our league. Is that you've got to add more to your game. And I think that Sancho never developed his game. He turned up thinking he was the full package. He was isolated a little bit out on the right or the left. And the best games we saw from him were actually where Bruno went out to the right wing and Sancho played more central, having more options to combine, use that close control. And I've always been really interested to see what he would have been like in the false nine that Ten Hag identified for him. I think he actually might have been quite good. And we've got Chat Sport saying good evening. All right, it's probably a good evening from us, but Amonde, do you have any sort of closing statements? Anything you want to bring up? Are you really excited about Kendrick Lamar versus Drake? What's going on?
I don't know anything about rap music or these dudes anymore. They're trash, if you ask me.
They are.
Yeah, very much so. Sancho, yeah. I think, look, we can bash him as much. For me, it's up here where he needs to get a lesson. He's acting like a child, and as soon as he grows up, he'll be a good player. Don't people talk about the physicality of the league, whatever? He's talented. He's super talented. Jack Grealish ain't particularly fast, is he? But he knows his game. He's learned it. He's been laid down in the Championship. He had to learn how to be effective in the Premier League, and now no one's doubting that he's a £100 million player. He's not the quickest, but he knows. I've seen him playing big games in the Champions League, and I've been super impressed with him. He's not ripping people for pace or doing it, but he's using his attributes, his intelligence, his advanced playmaking skills and dribbles, and can hold on to the ball. This is something I think Sancho should base his game on. Watching someone like Grealish, who I think is quite a similar player. Attitude, it's all about attitude, isn't it? And I think he's got a bad one. B.A. Barocas, that should be Sancho right now. It should be. And they said he ain't getting on a plane, but he has. He went to Germany and he's playing football out there. So I just want him to mature and look back with a lot of regret.
Is there a path back for him?
No, I don't think he can.
Okay.
I was thinking about that when I was reading the comments earlier. I don't think there's any way he can come back from this now after what's happened,
agree.
even with a different manager. It's just too. I can't think of a case where that's happened before in the past, and where someone's been allowed to come back. Even George Best was playing the arse and drinking and doing all kind of foolishness, and he couldn't come back. He lost himself, and he was a great player, a really truly great player. So. I think it's curtains for Sancho. We just need to get rid of him.
All right, I'm just going to answer one question quickly before I get to you, Dora, because it's intrigued me. Yes, I have used an Apple Mac. Why? Dora, final thoughts on Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Sancho, Rabiot. What are you thinking?
Well, that rap beef is so, it's old news already, but I've been seeing this all day, every day, this whole week. It's insane. People are so bored. They are over analyzing it. It's just, oh my God. I'm just rolling my eyes. But we need to have, and we need to entertain ourselves. So I'm looking from afar, in all honesty. I'm not that invested. I don't want to Rabiot with the baggage, and, good luck to Sancho, to Borussia Dortmund. And as someone said in the comments, well, you know what, that Twitter account saying that United should apologize. When you know what, pay for him 50 mil, 60 mil for him, then, you can do whatever you want with him. And that's all I'm going to say.
Good. And a follow-up. Andrew, do not get me involved in these things. Girl in the opposite flat has promised to make it worth my world if I fix hers. Andrew, I know that you live in some sort of 1970s sex comedy, like what's that one about a window cleaner on Monday?
Yeah, I can't recall it right now. I know you mean that.
Yeah, now it's an IT technician, isn't it? All right, boys and girls, we've had a super extended show tonight, which is always a danger when we have Dora and Amanda and myself on, because we all love talking football. Even though the show started with text messages from Amanda's mate about going to Montenegro.
My brother.
Well, I hope you're friends as well. There will not be a show tomorrow, and we're in a bit of a state of flux at the moment, so we'll have to get back to you. But I think, Dora, are you around on Monday night?
What's on Monday? Sorry.
Match reaction.
It's our bank holiday, Dora.
Oh, it's your bank holiday. Yeah, I will be here.
All right, so there'll be a match reaction on Monday night. And Monday, will you be joining us?
Definitely be here.
I'll try to stay awake. I will drink something, and I will.
Confessions of a Window Cleaner. That's it. Big up.
Yeah.
PG.
Yeah, starring Andrew Williams. I'm always very intrigued in the private lives of our chatters. They're all interesting characters. All right, boys. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Once again, a huge shout out to Mr. B. You're in our thoughts and prayers, and we'll see all of you on Monday. So have a really nice weekend. Good night.
Thank you.